And now it's time for week 22 of the timeline. And the first card for this week is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And for short, we call that NATO. And so we are just going to sign the first letters of each word on the card. So we're going to do lots of letters this week because there are lots of names and there just aren't any good ways to sign the names without spelling it all out in sign language. So for this one, we're going to do N-A-T-O. And an N in sign language looks like this. Your thumb finger comes up in between your middle finger and your ring finger like this for N. And then A, we've done this one before. It's kind of like a fist with your thumb sticking out. And then a T is with your thumb in between your middle and index finger like this. And then an O. Okay, so it's going to look like this. N-A-T-O for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The next card is the Korean War, and for that we're going to make a K in sign language, and a K in sign language looks like this. We've done this before as well. Your thumb finger basically comes up in the middle in between your index and middle fingers, except it's a little bit closer to your middle finger kind of resting against it. So that's what we're going to do for the Korean War. The next card is Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, so we're going to do an M in sign language. We've done this one as well. I think at this point we've done almost the whole alphabet. So here's an M with your three fingers on the side of your thumb. L for Luther, K for King, and the Civil Rights Movement. Okay? So Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. The next card is Jim and Elizabeth Elliot, Missionaries to Ecuador. And for that we're going to just do an E in sign language. Is kind of like this. It's kind of like a scrunched up C. Okay? So we're going to do Jim and Elizabeth Elliot. And then for missionaries, you're going to make an M. Again, your thumb goes in between your ring and pinky finger. And you're going to move it in a circle near your heart. And then, so it'll be like this. It'll be Jim and Elizabeth Elliot, missionaries to, you're going to make another E in sign language and put your left hand flat out, and you're going to make an E and just wiggle your hand back and forth. Okay? So Jim and Elizabeth Elliot, missionaries to Ecuador. The next card is the Antarctic Treaty, and for that we're just going to pretend we'll close. That's all for that one. The Antarctic Treaty. And the next one is the Vietnam War, so just a V in sign language, and then the sign for war. And then the next card is U.S. astronauts walk on the moon. And for that one, you're going to put your left hand flat and straight up. You're going to make an R with your right hand and move it up like a rocket along the side of your left hand. So that's kind of like the rocket where it's docked. And then it comes up. And then for astronaut, you're going to go ahead and bring your other hand up, make a symbol for like a person. So U.S. astronauts, and then a fist with your left hand and like a person walking across it. So U.S. astronauts walk on the moon. Okay? So now I'll run through it without doing any of the descriptions. Here we go. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the Korean War, Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, Jim and Elizabeth Elliot, missionaries to Ecuador, the Antarctic Treaty, the Vietnam War, U.S. astronauts walk on the moon. That's it. Have a good week.